Greetings and hallucinations, my fellow FAF players. This is the third entry into my tutorial series, quote-unquote tutorial. I guess it's more of a critique on gameplay. This is going to be a 2v2 match. This replay was sent in by odin002. I am going to watch from his point of view and give him some advice on some issues he was having countering point defense creep and some issues with his play style. So I guess the best way to do that is just to jump straight in and see how everything goes. Alright, first impression of your initial build order actually looks pretty good. Land Factory, 2 P-Gens, slight walk to build your mass extractor, walk to build mass extractor, and then to the front to nab some of that delicious, yummy reclaim. I love seeing this when people actually take advantage of the move orders instead of simply laying down builds, and then your ACU has to walk all that extra distance to build. Very nice touch. Of course, you are a 1400 player, so that puts you a little bit ahead of the average on FAF, so you're going to have some good gameplay basics to begin with. Alright, you are versus the Unpwnable, and since this is a 2 versus 2, you are paired with Morgoth, a 1300 player, and Sneaky Snake, a 1400 player. My observation on that is going to be the Unpwnable is decidedly above 1600 rank. He tends to go below 1600 sometimes because of the types of games that he plays, but on a map like this, he is dangerous. You bit off a massive chunk trying to take him on. Kudos for that. And Sneaky Snake is no slouch. You are at a severe rank disadvantage and somewhat of a skill disadvantage, I would think, strictly judging off of the rankings. So we're going into it with that knowledge. Queuing up an air factory immediately after the hydro, but you are mass stalling. What I would have done is sent this engineer to reclaim all of the rocks manually before I built the mass extractors. That would greatly help your build. I cannot emphasize that enough. When you mass stall for that long, it comes with horrific consequences. And -10 when you only have 7 income is way too far negative. That is over 100% negative. Not a good way to start the game. Alright. And again, when you're this far negative, I understand that there is less mass in these wrecks. I really do. But you need to do everything that you can to stay positive so that you can get your factories rolling more quickly. Alright, you are pulling in a ton of mass. Let's see what you do with it. Building more power. Good, getting a scout around the left side. I was opening my mouth to comment on the fact that you had not gone around that side and you were wide open to attack, but you have beat me to the punch and you have anticipated that. We got a scout and a bomber headed out. Excellent choice, my friend. It's going to fly over here. I really hope you pick up all these engineers with that bomber. That would make my heart happy. Yes, you are. Good job. Alright, second bomber coming out. There is not really any opposing air at the moment. And Sneaky Snake has also pushed a bomber. Lagging behind slightly on power, and you're pulling a mass extractor upgrade while building more factories. Okay, I am going to jump out on a theoretical limb right here and propose something to you. In the notes, I pulled this replay off of the Help Me, I'm a Newbie section of the forum. It was posted in the replay analysis thread, and in that you mentioned that you hate tier 2 upgrades, you love aggression, and you generally go gun on your commander. Well, Towards that end, I would point out that Gun Commander only works if you have a lot of spam to accompany you. That means that T1 to T2 mass extractor upgrades should not be happening, especially when they're causing you to go minus 34 mass. That is a monstrous problem. So that is problem number one. Problem number two, gun upgrade needs to happen very early. You had mentioned already in your post that by the time you get gun upgrade, the other person's already got tier 2 and it's pointless. Well, no sir, it is not. You just need to get it earlier. So that means you do not need to be going for strong air when you're going for gun, because air burns a crap load of power. And then in this situation, you have stopped your air factory. That's good. I won't say that. Yes, stop air because that burns a lot of power. Okay. Also, you should have made a storage early on so that as you're overbuilding power, if you're, let's say, plus 70 where you would normally be balanced, or plus 80, something like that, as you're building your power up, since you have the storage already, should have built the storage instead of the tier 2 mass extractor, your storage is filling. So that way, when you start your gun upgrade, instead of starting with 4K power and then pitting out at minus 300 for an extended period of time, you start with 9K power, and if you stall at all, you're only going to stall for a few seconds. So that would have been my suggestion on that. Again, heading into combat without the power storage is not smart. Finally throwing it up. I would have thrown that up a bit earlier. 6 minutes 40 seconds is a little late to be pushing a gun comm, and honestly I don't think there's enough spam here. I think with the power storage early, that is enough power, especially if you have help from your teammate, and not getting the tier 2 mass extractor upgrade. I think you would have had plenty to pull this off. Alright, as soon as you see the tier 2 point defense fire, all you need to do is start overcharging. Tier 2 point defense fall pretty quickly to overcharges, and I would also have a more than normal share of T1 mobile artillery in my mix when this happens. So you were correct in saying in your analysis of the replay that you failed in gun because the enemy ACU had the tier 2 upgrade. My answer to that is to share the fact that I am going to Observer, which kind of breaks the whole point of view thing for that, but it's okay because that's what we're going to do. Gun upgrade cost 800. The Unpwnable went for the tier 2 upgrade, which costs 720 mass, and that is 18,000 power, versus the gun upgrades. Oh, that's teleporter, no wonder. 24,000. Okay, gun upgrade costs slightly more than the tier 2 upgrade, but honestly you should be able to get it in close to the same amount of time. Then you have to consider the fact that building this tier 2 point defense cost him an additional 528 mass and 3,648 power. That puts him at about 1.6 times the mass investment, plus all of the build time associated with that to get the tier 2 comm and the tier 2 point defense. So in that amount of time, you should have been able to push gun and push forward and catch him before he got to this stage. Now, the other thing that you were commenting on is the fact that you were killed by a tier 2 point defense creep, which I see happening now. You do have the tier 2 factory, that is good, but I would not be building tier 2 engineers. No siree, Bobby, you do not need fire bases to compete with fire bases. You need mobile missile launchers and a flak to cover you from these gunships, which could potentially kill you. We will see how that turns out. I would be rolling 100% mobile missile launchers at the moment. Mobile missile launchers out of this, and then your other 4 factories pushing a mix of T1 artillery and Mantis. And the gunships are going to snipe off that engineer and mobile stealth, so that is going to be useless. Alright, flak, still no mobile missile launcher. The answer to the tier 2 point defense creep is scouting and mobile missile launchers. That is the answer. So tier 2 point defense going up. The other problem that you have is Cybern versus Aeon point defense creep is a losing proposition. This is wasted mass that could have gone into more units to counter. Aeon point defense, nifty little did you know here. Well, first of all, you're building after he's already finished his point defense and you're in range. Aeon point defense has a nice little area of effect. So what you can do is, let's say his Cybern point defense is right here. You build your Cybern tier 2 point defense, or your Aeon point defense, right where he did, and then you ground fire right there. The area of effect will kill the Cybern point defense, and the Cybern point defense is incapable of shooting your Aeon point defense. This is disregarding the fact that in addition to not having area of effect, Cybern point defense is inherently much crappier than Aeon point defense. Aeon point defense is brutally strong in a tier 2 point defense war. It just has so much power behind it. The way you kill Aeon point defense is, as you're actually doing right here, it has slow rate of fire. You need to spread your units out and overwhelm them. But at this point, the game is lost if your habits are not adjusted, because now the Imponable is sitting on the reclaim. He has the reclaim, he has a defensible position, he has the tier 2 ACU, so you are pretty well screwed. Finally seeing some mobile missile launchers. That is good, but you have run them directly into the point defense, which is kind of failing, to be honest. Once again, I am harking back to my understood disclaimer on all of these videos. By submitting a video to the Help Me I'm a Newbie section or to my channel, you are admitting the fact that you made mistakes, and I will try not to be too harsh pointing them out, but advice is advice. It is constructive criticism, so I'm not taking anything out on you personally, just pointing out what I see. We all make mistakes. And nice little TMD right there. What I love about Cybern MML is the fact that it has that splitting tac missile, which honestly does not do as much good versus Aeon. As you can see, the Aeon point defense simply sucks in the missile. What I would be doing in this situation is directly aiming at one point defense, at one TMD, because they can only suck in, if you notice, they suck in one every couple of seconds, and then the rest of them are unaffected. So if you focus fire on an Aeon TMD with 2 or more mobile missile launchers with staggered fire, you will kill the TMD. It is inevitable. Aeon TMD is weak that way. But again, at this point, it's going to be very hard, if not impossible, to come back in this situation. I've kind of been ignoring Morgor's side of the map. I see some devastation, but in my commentary I have failed to notice what did that. I'm going to say drops or a run by. Not sure which. Probably a run by. That's a tier 2 tank. Let me see what Sneaky Snake's got real quick. Drop. T1 transport, probably drop the tank or 2 in the back. Alright. Good enough. I'm liking the mobile missile launcher spam, and as you can see, it is completely shutting down any further advance by those point defense. But unfortunately, the damage has already been done. You need to be doing a ton of scouting on this, because you need to be seeing where the new point defense is building so that you can pre-target it and keep the advantage. power stalling once again. I think you were relying a little too much on your teammates' power income, and now that that is gone, it's leaving you in a world of trouble. Margarth is down to 7 mass income. That is horrible. 7 mass income and 380 power, and you are sitting on 543 power, 500 power, and 37 mass. I think that is going to be the end of this game. It's just a matter of killing the ACUs. I'm going to go ahead and bump up the speed here. Stay zoomed in, see if anything else of interest happens, but at this point I think we can officially say that another one is about to bite the dust. Point defense came online in range of your mobile missile launchers, and the mobile missile launchers were not moved back, therefore they all died. Such a sad occurrence. That's what happens when you're not scouting continually. You don't see the point defense is there until it has already been built, and then the damage is done. Suicide run with a handful of rhinos, and kaboom. Ooh, what is that? Oh. Is that ghetto gunships? Interesting. And Sneaky Snake is correct in saying that your buddy turned it into a turtle war. Not something you want to do, but that is a subject for another cast. Alright, I am going to end that one here, since that was sent in by Odin, and that concludes Odin's role in this game. I hope that those pointers will give you something to think about, something to learn from, and maybe next time things will go better for you. Alright guys, thanks everybody for watching. Hope this turned out well for everybody, and as always, leave replays that you want casted in the comments below. Message me on YouTube or message me on the forum or FAF client. I will get to them as soon as I possibly can. I would ask, if you are sending one in for an analysis video where you want me to critique your play, please add a note with it, and I would prefer to get those on the forum so that I have a record of it and I know who is requesting the replay and who to watch from their point of view. Alrighty guys, I was going to wrap it up for me today. See you guys in the next cast.